The King is coming, December 14th. The reading is from Luke chapter 2, verses 1 to 7. And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This census first took place while Quirinius was governing Syria. So all went to be registered, everyone to his own city. Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. So it was that while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. The following is taken from a sermon on Luke 2 by Bob Davies. 700 years before, Micah, who was a prophet, a contemporary of Isaiah, in chapter 5, verse 2, writes this: But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me the one to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth are from old, from everlasting. Psalm 90, verse 2 says, Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. The King of kings, the Lord of lords, out of Bethlehem will come, whose going forth has been from everlasting to everlasting. God is coming to earth, and he is coming out of Bethlehem. That 90-mile ride on a donkey for this pregnant girl whose baby is due now took days. This is a miracle. Galatians 4, verses 4 and 5 tell us, But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons. We can call God Father because Jesus Christ became flesh and dwelt among us, and did it in one of the hardest ways you can imagine. Inconvenient, uncomfortable, miserable. But God is going to keep his promise. She could have had the baby in Nazareth or on the way to Bethlehem, but she had the baby where God said she would. Joseph and Mary were learning and trusting on the way. They were simply obedient. They were just people, and they were poor. Anyone of any means could have made a reservation at an inn. Bethlehem is packed. Everybody is coming to stay. Those with money could stay at the inn. They didn't have any money, so they stayed in a cave. And that's where the animals would be. That is built for animals, not your normal hospital room. An animal feeding trough is where God laid. God in human flesh, coming to dwell among us. He came lowly to let you know he is not above spending time with you and me. He came lowly even when he showed himself publicly as King of Kings. He came lowly on a donkey. He took off the robes of glory and came down here to take on that fleshly body, that he might live sinlessly and then be put to death. And he will always be the Lamb that was slain for all of eternity. Imagine what he has given up just to come and to take you home. We can't even fathom that. For eternity, always, forever, he will be fully God and fully man, willing to do that for you and for me. Does God love you? He loves you so much. He was willing to be born into that kind of atmosphere, amongst animals, while the whole city ignored him. It hasn't changed today. He is still ignored in most cities. There is no room for him, but there can be room for him in your heart. God with us is who Jesus was and is and always will be. He ascended to the right hand of the Father, and he is coming back again to judge the quick and the dead, and of his kingdom there will be no end.